Hey guys, I'm Jeremy from Android Central and Mobile Nations. Today I was lucky enough to get my grubby little paws on the Samsung Galaxy S7 and the LG G5 which just came out, and so we decided today to go to the zoo to do a camera comparison. First off, before we hit the zoo, let's look at these camera specs to see what we're dealing with here. The S7 has a 12 megapixel rear-facing camera with a 5 megapixel front-facing selfie snapper. The G5 has an 8 megapixel front-facing camera for selfies, but on the back it has not one but two lenses. One is a 16 megapixel camera, and the additional lens is an 8 megapixel camera which extends to 135 degrees for super wide shots. But we'll look at that more later. First, I shot some indoor full light shots. As you can see, both images look great, but the S7 had the slight advantage here. Its pictures looked a little warmer and had a shallower depth of field, which helps lead the eye to the focus of the picture. Both camera selfie modes did a decent job of capturing my ugly mug, but where the S7 took the advantage here was by offering a wide selfie option, while the G5 left me with nothing but slim. This would really have hit home if I had any friends to join me in the picture. Oh well. Both cameras had different but equally inventive ways of helping me capture selfies in low light. The G5 used this frame of light to help light my striking features, while the S7 used this flash of light while taking the shot. It ended up casting more light, but it came at the cost of not showing me what face I was making as I took the actual selfie. So the winner in this category depends on which of these features is more important to you. The S7 is the clear winner when it comes to slow motion video. Not only does it shoot with twice the frame rate, 240 frames per second versus 120, but the picture quality is far better as well. Next, I got up close and personal to test me some macro shots. This time the G5 picked up the slack when it came to blurring the background and gave a little more shallow depth of field. However, the S7 still looked a little sharper with richer color and nicer contrast. Both phones offer a panorama mode, but that's as far as the similarity went here. The G5's panorama was a mess in terms of color temperature, as you can see here, going from warm to cool to warm all in the same shot. While the S7 not only offered a great shot with uniform color, the S7's panoramic mode actually extends to beyond 360 degrees, which is super cool. Next, we headed for the Bears to shoot some video. Both phones offer pretty sweet video image quality, as you can see. They both shoot in 4K and produce a great looking image. I have to admit, however, that the look of childlike wonder on my face is only partly due to the video quality here, as it was also the result of having a polar bear swim over my head. Later I got some nighttime video to compare low-light video. The S7 had the definite edge here, with the G5's footage looking a lot grainier with a lot of extra noise. While I was out, I snapped a few pics to test outdoor low light as well. And based on the feedback in our forums about the S7's low light capabilities, there was no surprise here. The S7 came out looking a lot crisper and way closer to the color I was actually seeing when I took these. The main difference in video between the S7 and the G5 came in video stabilization, which was obvious when we went to celebrate Hump Day with these camels. While both phones have video stabilization, the S7 came out the clear winner in this contest, with super smooth footage. Next up, we did a monkey-to-monkey autofocus comparison, and who better to help than this little guy? Both phones were impressively quick to focus, but the G5 was a lot slower to adjust its iris. So as we've seen, these are both really great cameras, but if you're one of the people out there who is still trying to decide between one of these two phones based on the camera, there are some extra features which are unique to each one of these. The S7 has a great feature called selective focus, which is very similar to tilt shift in Instagram, which blurs everything but your point of focus out. The S7 has a cool feature called virtual shot, where you put your subject in a spot and you travel around the subject, and it gives you the ability to swipe back and forth around the subject with your finger. It also has a feature called video collage, which is really cool. It lets you take 4 separate pieces of video and it pieces them together for you, which is sort of interesting. It's got a food setting, which essentially just puts a little filter in the center and blurs everything else out. It makes your food look even that much more delicious. Both the S7 and the G5 do a variation of a time-lapse mode. The S7 mode is called HYPERLAPSE. It's ideal for capturing sunsets or clouds or anything that takes a long time, while the G5's normal time-lapse mode is a lot better suited at capturing shenanigans like these. Both cameras have pro settings, where you can really get in and customize your settings like ISO, white balance, f-stop, and really sort of customize the pictures if you're into that sort of thing. Now the G5 has some interesting features as well. It's got a feature called Pop Out, which essentially takes a picture and uses its second lens to get the background of the picture. So you've got this nice sort of picture in the middle of a more blown out picture in the background, which is sort of unique and cool. It's also got a setting called multi-view, which is interesting and sort of similar to the S7's video collage, except in this you can do stills or video and mix them together. So the G5, because it has a removable bottom and battery, has an extra feature. It gives you the ability to put extra components on here. Now I have to admit, the first time I did this, it felt very wrong because I've never taken the guts out of a cell phone before. But you see, you remove the bottom like this and this battery comes off of the bottom piece and you can replace it with the Cam Plus. And now you have an actual physical toggle rotor thing that you can adjust the focus with. Now this is not only good for adjusting the zoom, but you can actually switch between the lenses on here with this piece, which is really cool. And it gives you the ability to do one-handed focusing while holding something else, like this monkey, to be able to get dramatic gopher monkey shots, which is a huge bonus for me anyway. Now, this piece seems a little gimmicky, I have to admit. It doesn't add that much to the camera. Other than having this, it feels more like an actual physical camera, but really it doesn't make this a pro camera by any means. Make sure to stay tuned and subscribe to Android Central for a whole lot more.